caused the crash of Asiana Flight 214 at SFO last year. Tonight, ABC7 News morning anchor Kristen Z has some insight on the investigation from the woman who presided over it in the days after that airliner went down. Now, this is a story you'll see only on ABC7 News.
On a picture-perfect day nearly a year ago, the unthinkable happened at San Francisco International Airport.
Hey! Listen to me!
South Korean airliner Asiana Flight 214, with over 300 on board, hit the seawall while coming in for a landing. More than 180 were injured, and 3 teenagers from China were killed. Hersman, then head of the National Transportation Safety Board, became the public face of the investigation.
We recognize that your lives were forever changed when the crash occurred.
Hersman left the NTSB recently after 10 years at the helm. In a satellite interview today, she told us what to expect out of next week's NTSB meeting.
They could issue recommendations to the aircraft manufacturer about information that might be in their manuals for training the pilots. They could make recommendations specifically to the airline. They could make recommendations to training centers, because a lot of this training is contracted out to third parties. And then finally, they can make recommendations to the regulator.
Based on what you saw while heading the investigation, where would you assign primary responsibility for the crash?
They don't like to characterize it as assigning blame, because generally you can't blame an accident on one single factor. It's got to be a system of safety to help protect not just the pilots, but also the passengers from events like this occurring.
A lot has happened since the crash. In December, the NTSB held hearings where Asiana blamed Boeing for design flaws with its controls, while Boeing blamed the pilots for lack of training, incorrect settings, and not aborting the landing. In February, the Department of Transportation fined Asiana $500,000 for lack of responsiveness and communication with families following the crash. And just this month, the South Korean government suspended Asiana flights to Saipan for 1 week when its pilots took off despite discovering an engine problem.
It is actually good news in a certain area, and it demonstrates that there is oversight by the regulator and that the regulator is willing to step in and take action when they identify a deficiency.
Hersman is still trying to save lives. Now as head of the National Safety Council, the nonprofit seeks to prevent unintentional deaths, be they from distracted driving, drug overdose, or workplace dangers.